Hi, welcome back to my channel. I look tired right now. It's because I am exhausted at the moment, but I wanted to come and tell you that I've officially started Hall of Smoke, which this whole entire video is going to be the experience of me reading it, vlogging the experience, and then reviewing it at the end. Completely spoiler free. If I ever come to the point where I feel like I need to say a spoiler, I will indicate before I've said it. So good to know moving forward, right? I usually forget to say that at the beginning. So Hall of Smoke is by debut author H.M. Long, and it is a new like Viking-esque fantasy. I'm not quite sure after reading the first chapter if it's more young adult or adult. Going in, I thought this was going to be young adult, and I was excited to try out a new young adult book, especially just based on the other authors who have blurbed it all across. But after the first chapter, I think it really has more of an adult vibe, but I will update you on how that goes as I continue on. So in this book, we are following, I'm gonna have to glance at the back because I'm a little bit rusty on what's going on. We are following Hessa, who is an Eangi. It's E-A-N-G-I, which is a battle goddess, priestess for the goddess of war. She's not a goddess. She's a priestess for the goddess of war. And the goddess of war's name is something. So she has been banished from her people because she brought in, it sounds like a foreigner, someone who wasn't supposed to be there, and protected this person. And so as of chapter 1, she is trying to get back into the good graces by going up on this like mountain or something and sacrificing some blood to a fire. And if the goddess redeems her or sees her willing, then is going to show her some type of sign so she can go back to her people. So that's where I have left off at the end of chapter 1. I know that a lot more is going to happen. For instance, from the back of the book, I know that our main girl has the ability to, oh my goodness, I was trying to remember what her ability is, and this just spoiled chapter 2 for me. I guess I should tell you what's gonna happen. So apparently while she's gone, some people come back to her camp and have burned her entire town to the ground. And then she is left dealing with trying to, crap, what's the word? It's like justify. Revenge. She's trying to revenge them. God, I'm so freaking tired right now. Okay, so she's trying to revenge all of her people, which is going to be interesting because in chapter 1, we met her husband, which is kind of why I'm thinking this is more of an adult book. And then we met her cousin. So I'm assuming they're going to be dead pretty quickly just based on the back of the book. It's not a spoiler because I don't know. So she has the ability to scream. So she has the ability to turn enemies' bones to dust with a scream. I'm really excited to get to that. I'm really excited to see more of that kind of action in this book. So far, chapter 1 was really slow, but I think it's trying to set up the world and set up the people. So I hope that it picks up and gets a little bit faster as it goes. And it's told in first person perspective, which I have learned I'm not as big of a fan of. So we'll see how I feel moving forward with that. This is my first check-in as of 11 pages. Hello. So I've officially made progress on Hall of Smoke. First off, I picked up the audiobook, and I'll get into why in just a second, but it's really helping me get through the story a lot faster, although it's taken me a few days and I'm only on page 100. I honestly don't remember. I think I talked to you guys last like January 31st. And it's February 4th as of right now. So it's been a few days and I'm only 100 pages in, which for me is slow progress. I'm not absolutely loving the book. It's definitely very slow. It spans long periods of time, which is something that I don't like, and I know I don't like. And if I had known this book did that, I might not have picked it up. I also think one of my issues is the main character very, very early on into the book. Something happens and she can't have access to her ability, her scream of death or whatever. And she also has some kind of fire thing that she can do, and she can no longer access it. That's like the main reason why I signed up for this book, was to see the cool magic system. And now I'm not able to see it because of this reason. So let me talk to you about what's going on up to the first 100 pages, and then I promise I will not spoil anything after that, and I won't spoil anything major that happens in the first 100 pages. If you absolutely hate any kind of spoiler, anything at all, turn away. But if you're okay with basically knowing what the summary says, you can sit and listen to what I'm about to say. So we're following our main girl, Hessa, and she goes off into the woods because her goddess told her, well, through one of her like priestesses. She is a priestess of this like god of war, that when this certain man came into her town, she needed to kill him. And when he came into her town, she decided not to kill him. And this is all stuff that happens before the book starts. The book takes place across like multiple timelines, so we're following like present day, and then we're flashing back to her past and seeing like how present day became present day, which I'm actually kind of enjoying that part, to be honest. So she goes off into the woods to like atone, and in her atonement it doesn't happen, but she starts to notice some weird things back in her village. So she walks back there, and when she gets there, everyone is pretty much dead, and they've been taken over by like a warring clan. And so she's captured and sold as a slave, and then escapes slavery and starts hanging out with these people who worship Odin, and they're going to take her somewhere where she can try to find justice. That's all I'm going to say right now about the plot, because the first 100 pages, that's like all that happens. I'm in chapter 15. I'm not necessarily wanting to DNF the book. I definitely could DNF. This could be a DNF, and I hate doing videos on books that I DNF. And in fact, every single time I've DNF'd a book in the past and I've been doing a video on it, I've canceled it. But I've decided at this point that I'm not going to do that. If I get far enough into the book where I can like discuss it with you, I'm not going to cancel the videos. I did some like research into the book, and the author herself actually left like a little blurb on Goodreads, and if you can find that, I recommend reading it, because she talks a lot about her inspiration into the book, which I don't actually see a lot of. A lot of the books she talked about I've read myself, and I don't see those influencing this book. It really does feel like its own unique thing, which is great. I do feel the world and the people and the characters are so unique in who they are, and it definitely is an adult fantasy without so far any kind of sexual content or any kind of like graphic language or violence or anything. So it's kind of nice to have that adult content, but it's just so freaking slow. Anyway, so the author herself said online that her book is really, really slow, and that you have to give it a little bit to get into it for it to be worth reading. I unfortunately am the kind of reader, I don't mind slow books, but if I can't get into the slowness of the book, I can't seem to get myself to continue reading. I can't force myself to do it. So I'm gonna give myself like a week, basically the rest of this week. So today's the 4th. Oh, you can kind of see my calendar. So today's the 4th. I'm gonna give myself like through the weekend, and if I have no ambition to pick up any more of this book, I think I'm going to quit it. But my goal would be to try to do like 50 pages of it tomorrow. So I'm listening to the audiobook. Like I said, I picked up the audiobook because I was struggling to get through the book. Every single time I think about putting the book down, though, something like in me doesn't want to necessarily put it down. There's just these great relationships between the characters and everything, but it's not how I like to read books when it's this wide, expansive story. And I just know this about myself. Do I struggle and keep going because I've heard that there's this amazing plot twist at the end that has changed so many people's minds about this book? Or do I not force myself, because 2021 is the year where we love ourselves and we don't force ourselves to read books that we're not absolutely loving? I'm also feeling like I'm kind of getting into a slump right now, because the last few books that I've been reading, I have just not been into. This one is kind of one of them, and I don't know necessarily if I'm in a mood because it's kind of all the books I'm reading, or if I'm just reading books that aren't for me, you know? Like there's kind of a struggle with that. But I'm really currently reading about 5 different books because I can't seem to peg down what I'm in the mood for. So maybe this would be something I'm in the mood for later, but I'm kind of doubting it. I think this book just isn't the one for me. I am going to keep going. I am going to attempt to read hopefully another 50 pages, but I have made that 100-page mark, which means that I feel like I've honestly given it a fair shot, and I've been able to talk to you about it a little bit, but I am going to try my hardest to actually make some more progress in this book. But you know, if I have to read another 300 pages of book that I don't care about just to get 100 pages of book that I care about, for me, that's not worth it. Anyways, I'm gonna go now. I'll talk to you again in the future with kind of my last thoughts and opinions on this and how it's going. Okay, so I want to come and talk to you guys briefly about Hall of Smoke. I mean, this whole entire video is about Hall of Smoke, so I guess this really won't be brief, but that was a weird introduction. Hi, welcome back. This is you still. I am different, but you are the same, unless you paused in between those 2 clips and then, wow, this introduction for this video is getting really funky. Hi, let's talk about Hall of Smoke. So last I talked to you, it was February 4th, and as of today, it is February 16th, and I have read 50 more pages. I'm on chapter 19, which puts me at page 148. and I have officially on Goodreads DNF'd the book. But I want to come and talk to you guys briefly about why I DNF'd it, why I think it's still a very good and valid book, and give you guys some pointers as to if you like certain things, you'll like this book, even though I didn't necessarily stick with it all the way through. Because even though I didn't stick with it all the way through, I didn't dislike this book. And I don't know if my DNF is actually forever or not, or if I might pick it up again one day. The main reason I DNF'd is because of the slowness of the story. At page 150, we still haven't seen any magic happen with the main girl. We still really are just getting this adventure story. It's not quite an adventure, it's this traveling story. This girl is trying to get vengeance on her people, but she's all alone, so she's basically going from clan to clan to clan to try and get to where she needs to be, to try to get some help. And it's a lot of her just going from different groups of people to different groups of people. If you like slow books that are really focused on characters learning that their world views are not as not as real as they thought they were, or are starting to learn about the opinions of other types of people and are starting to realize that not everything is how they see the world, then you probably really like this book. And if you're okay with your fantasy books not having their magic front and center, you'll probably really enjoy this book. But you need to go into it knowing that it's gonna be super slow, it's going to take a while to build. The characters are great, well-rounded characters. The main female protagonist is super strong and super powerful, and she really cares a lot for herself and for her people. And when she feels like they've been wronged, she starts to question things, and she doesn't just blindly go with her own decisions that she made when she was younger. She also stands up to the priestesses and the gods of her world because she doesn't think that they know everything that they know, or she thinks that they know what they know, but they're forgetting things like human emotions and why people do the things that they do. It was a good book. The writing was good, the characters were good. It all just came down to that pacing, and I just couldn't quite get into it. So this is gonna sit on my shelf for a little bit, and I will make some final decisions about it as the months go on. But for now, I am DNFing it, unfortunately. So I know this video is going to be really freaking short because of that, but I hope that you are okay with it. And I hope that if you had thought about reading this book, I've given you a little bit more information and convinced you to do it, or let you know that maybe this isn't the one for you. I will say, if you have read Hall of Smoke and you're watching this video because you just want to know someone else's opinion and you loved Hall of Smoke, I have a book for you, and that is The Tiger's Daughter. This was a very, very slow story about two female warriors. One was an empress, one was a warrior, as they slowly come to learn about their world and the magic in their world. And it really is about them making this journey to understanding about themselves. So if you liked Hall of Smoke, I recommend checking out The Tiger's Daughter, or if you liked The Tiger's Daughter, I recommend checking out Hall of Smoke. They both had very similar vibes, although their cultures were completely different, and I made it through one of them but didn't make it through the other one. Just a thought right there, right now, in case you wanted to have some recommendations if you liked this one. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you. If you want to talk about Hall of Smoke down below, I'd love to. Even though I didn't finish it, I really do think that it has a lot of merit, and I think it has a lot of value. So let me know down below if you want to talk about this dang book. Anyways, I don't remember how my outro goes, but until next time, I will talk to you in the comments. Bye.